Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. I just saw a really good movie. There was actually people in this theater in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon to see this film, early show. It was nice to see some other people in the theater for a change. I guess my Mike's Instant Movie Reviews trying to single-handedly save the film industry. They've been working because more people in the theater today, and some people actually applauded at the end of this movie, which you don't get a whole lot. I really like the movie a lot. Um, I think it's the type of movie that I enjoy, which is character development, human stories. Nobody's trying to save the world from aliens. Nobody's trying to, escape from some type of monster or some type of apocalyptic fucking thing. It's not a horror movie. I would call it a drama, family drama, PG rated. There was one of these movies. Once again, I end up finding myself in the theater for these movies. There's like a tinge of Christian film in it, but not really. Like for instance, in this movie, they go to church once for about 5 minutes, and then there's some biblical references at the end of the movie, like in script, but really not beating you over your head. Church or faith is not really a storyline in this film at all. What it's about, without giving much away here, is that Tyson refers to this high school kid. I believe he's a freshman, so he's 14. Um, he's on the spectrum, is how they put it, meaning he has autism. He speaks in a very stilted and formal manner. He calls his parents mother and father, and speaks very properly. And he has like a photographic memory for certain things, but then his social skills are awkward. And so his father, you watch this movie, he's been homeschooled his whole life by the mom, played by Amy Smart. She does a great job. And the husband, who did a great job, I don't know that actor's name, but he was really great in this too, as kind of a stoic. Um, he is a high school football coach who's taken the team to the state championships the year before, and everyone loves this guy in the city that they're in, which I think was something like Stanbridge, Georgia. I think the city was supposed to be. So the coach is very well loved in the community, but he's never really heralded his own son. He put so much time into these athletes that he's the coach for the football team. He doesn't spend time with his own son. He can't connect with them. The kid's already 14 years old, and the father hasn't figured this out by now. So the kid is kind of always, looking towards his mother because the dad's not there, because the dad's too busy with the goddamn football team. So that makes the wife upset, and he's smart. And then when the kid says, Tyson himself, he wants to go to regular school, he's sick of being homeschooled because he wants to go to the regular high school. That puts his dad in an awkward position because his dad now is going to have his two worlds combined. When the dad goes to work, he gets the escapism from having the high maintenance son. And now his high maintenance son is coming to his workplace. That's where Tyson basically volunteers to be a kind of an organizer of the equipment for the football team, or kind of put in that position from his father. And he gets picked on a little bit by some, bad kids in the school, typical high school bullies in the movies. But Tyson sees a guy running the track, and here's where like another character comes into the mix. This hard to pronounce the guy's name. And Isilio comes in he's this guy from Ethiopia is running the track, and our buddy Tyson there decides to follow the guy. And it turns out that Tyson has this natural ability to be a good runner, and he strikes up a friendship with this Ethiopian guy. And the kid is determined to be a great runner, so he could basically tell his father to fuck off, or show his father that he's as good as a person as these football assholes. So that's the basic gist of it. And then there's some twists and turns and twists and turns. So what did I like about the movie? I mean, a lot, quite a bit, actually. I did like the movie. At the beginning of the movie, it said based on a real boy, which I thought was interesting. It didn't say based on a true story. It said based on a real boy at the beginning of the movie. Uh, there was a pretty damn good opening scene. One of the opening scenes, not the opening scene, but where Amy Smart as the mother slash wife, she and her husband character are in their bedroom, arguing about whether or not Tyson should go to public school, and the camera work was kind of lacking, in my opinion, just in this one scene. Like Amy Smart seemed to be doing some really good acting here, and I was waiting for a close up on her face, and it never happened. But that was the only scene because I was thinking, okay, this is gonna be a movie, but with kind of clunky or pedestrian cinematography. But as the movie got going, it was just that one scene that felt a little lacking for me. Once you got into the movie, it was filmed pretty well. Good score. It wasn't a soundtrack. It wasn't a bunch of rock songs, but a good score for this movie. Most of all, the story, and the acting to give whoever is a female director, writer, director, she did a good job here because the acting was really good. I do feel that the father character was interesting because he's kind of like so stoic, which is really the point. Stoic, not showing his feelings. He's all bottled up inside with his emotions, and the female Amy Smart kind of catches him on his shit, says, "You're ashamed of your son. You're ashamed," and of course the kid is in the other room listening this whole time. So overall, pretty dramatic stuff. And I mean, you watch this type of movie and you're kind of reminded, like, oh yeah, you never know, if you're going to be a parent, it's kind of a lottery. You don't know what type of kid you're going to get. And I know it must be very difficult for those folks. We don't always think about these kids if they're on the spectrum of autism or some other thing that their parents must be going through a lot, and so on and so forth. And that's what can you fucking do, right? So good movie, very emotional. um I liked it. I mean, everyone, I mean, I can't you can't I mean, I'm not going to say it was an Academy Award type of film, but I thought it was a really good movie, well worth seeing. Does It's not, like I said, it's got the religious kind of tinge, but not too much. We've got some comments here from my buddy Juan. uh, Cody's debut has been spoiled, Ben being WrestleMania. How should AEW respond? I'm sure Tony Khan will take that lightly. Did they announce a match for Cody, Juan, or is it just was it Meltzer reporting that Cody will be there? For those of you that are not into pro wrestling, I guess we've segued, but I want to address this wrestling issue. Of course, I have more to say about Scott Hall, kind of saving that for another time. But good question, Juan. For the non-pro wrestling fans, once again, just to wrap up on this movie, I thought it was a great movie, and I think everyone should see it. So nice work, Meltzer. Well, okay, Juan. Here's the thing, buddy. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Meltzer and the like were telling us how Vince McMahon was going to wrestle at WrestleMania, and he was going to wrestle Pat McAfee, and then on the Pat McAfee show, it was going to be Pat. The angle would get started, right? And yeah, I mean, they kind of, I mean, but basically, it's not Vince wrestling. So all these assholes, all the guys that I like to listen to as well, the Alvarezes, the Meltzers, the Wrestling Hubs, the WrestleLamias, they all said the same thing. Oh, Vince is going to wrestle at age 76, but he's going to have all these other guys, take all the blows for him. Well, apparently that's not happening. They're just doing a match between fucking, um, you know, between two guys, between Pat McAfee and the other fuck, Austin Theory. So, did any of these people, Meltzer or Alvarez, retract their statement or their reporting from 3 weeks ago about Vince wrestling? No, not that I know of. Did any of them apologize for filling our little wrestling minds full of false energy, fake news, fake wrestling news? No. Here we go. Adam, my buddy's kicking in. Yeah, Billy Body blew that call about Vince wrestling. Yeah, they all did, Adam. I'm not even sure who Billy Body is, but I know that. I mean, Meltzer, Alvarez, they were all saying it. Everybody was saying it. I bought into it. But we've got to start learning, guys, if we haven't already, that the wrestling press is another variant of the theme, another fucking layer of the circle of lies that is the pro wrestling industry. You know what I mean? So wrestling's not regulated. There's no fucking, uh, fucking, what do you call it? Unions for the wrestlers, and so there's no union for wrestling news. That's for sure. So I mean, we could all. I mean, that's why if you guys have seen my post from Pro Wrestling Intelligenter, uh, basically what I just when I feel like saying something and adding some credence to it, I say that it's published reports from Pro Wrestling Intelligenter, and everybody, it's just a fucking parody because there is no goddamn inside scoop. I mean, you know what I mean? So if Cody shows up at WrestleMania in Texas, that's great. That's where his father was from. That would be cool. But what's he going to do? I mean, is he going to wrestle a match at Mania, or they have to save him for the next night at Raw? Typically, when you were this close to WrestleMania, it should be everybody should be hyped up for a bunch of matches. Well, this year, I'm no offense, guys, but I'm not hyped up about anything. Who would I be hyped up about? And the fucking Charlotte Ronda thing might be, but they've already wrestled at Survivor Series a couple of years ago. The two of them were with Becky in a WrestleMania main event a couple of years ago. Why should I get all high and excited about fucking, this WrestleMania? What match is putting my ass in the seat? Steve Austin? Well, I mean, my feeling is that it's going to be a very entertaining segment with Austin basically doing a couple of punches and a stunner, maybe like a 5-minute at the most beatdown. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that Steve Austin is going to take any bumps. And no offense to Steve Austin or anybody, but if you can't take bumps in a match, you're not wrestling. You're being spoon-fed an exhibition. You remember when Bret Hart won the U.S. title in the 2012 WWE era, and he had already had the stroke and everything? It's kind of like that. No offense to Stone Cold. You can buy a Mania ticket for Saturday for $35. They have a ton of tickets still available on SeatGeek. Well, here's the question, Adam, and I'm not diminishing that. And we're not getting any commission if anyone buys these goddamn tickets for $35. Look, if I was in Dallas, I might be tempted if I was a wrestling fan to go and buy a fucking Mania ticket for $35. But let me ask you this. Here's kind of a deep philosophical question. I've always liked my wrestling live, right? But really, what advantage is there to going to a WrestleMania live when you can see the same goddamn thing at home on the Peacock network with the commentary, with the camera angles, with all that shit? It's really just a prestige thing to say that you were there. And maybe you save your ticket stub and you eBay that for a few bucks. I just did purchase the code, your buddy there, Conrad's thing on him, his whatever the fuck it is, his StarCast or the Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy thing. I just bought that for some reason. I paid for it. So that's coming up. And I got the NWA Crockett Cup this weekend. I paid for that. So I'm going to have to watch all those matches. I really have too much content to watch. I still haven't watched our buddy, the GCW thing that my friend sent me. Eric, I appreciate you sending it. It's hard because I have to set up my computer to the TV. It's a whole big hassle involving HDMI wires. So the point is, there's plenty of content and so forth. I am going to do another Scott Hall thing. I appreciate that some people are involved right now here. Juan and Adam, thanks for being here, guys. But I'm still stunned, quite honestly. Yesterday, as the news of his passing was getting trickled, we heard that he would be taking off the life support from Kevin Nash on Instagram, and then he was taken off the fucking life support, and then he was alive for another 4 hours. And unfortunately, I've seen this type of thing happen before. Just because someone's off life support and still living, it doesn't mean that they're like having a magical comeback. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to diminish that because I'm sure it happens once in a while. But, I reserved my hopes, but I was hoping that Scott would have a miraculous comeback. Unfortunately, he did not. And they don't put that against Scott. Like 99 out of 100 people would probably have passed away sooner than he did. But I'm just in a state of shock. Sorry to hear that, Carl. I mean, small cold. Well, in this day and age, buddy, I would advise to just stay away from your family. So you don't want to pass them the small cold. And if it persists for another day or two, you can do it one of those drive-through COVID tests, Carl. Because, if you happen to have COVID, which I'm not saying you did, you'd rather know that you had it than not know. And watching Die Another Day on DVD, good movie. That's James Bond, I believe. Is that the Pierce Brosnan James Bond? Or was that what's his dick? My friend always likes that guy. The new guy, the guy that just Daniel Craig. You know what I mean? I think it's Daniel Craig. So was that the most recent theatrical release, Carl? We'll have to do a James Bond video summary. So the Scott Hall thing caught me off guard. I did a pretty good career summary the day that we found out he was in trouble, and I think I did a review of Die Another Day. It's a good one. It really is. But as far as Scott Hall, man, I just stunned, still sad. Also, another thing I don't want to shortchange, but I saw this on Facebook. At least I should confirm this, but it said that JJ McGuire had passed away. For those of you that don't know, JJ was instrumental in all the music you heard from Jimmy Hart over the years. He was in the Wrestling Boot Band, I believe, with Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart. JJ McGuire was a heavy contributor to a lot of the WWE music, along with Jim Jarmusch. What's his name? Jim Johnson. But JJ McGuire was kind of like the actual workhorse of the Jimmy Hart musical team. I'm going to use some water. Well, buddy, here we go. I'm going to read this. Adam says, sounds to me like that hospital messed up their drug doses during that hip surgery. You do too much anesthesia, it can lead to clots. Hey, great point, Adam. And you know what? I don't want to throw that hospital under the bus. I'm not sure what hospital he was in. But to your point, and I'm not arguing, I'm just saying, to your point, Scott Hall, how much do you think he weighed? 280, 290 at the time? 300? I don't know. Maybe less, maybe 250. Big guy, 6'7". But he was always in that, 260 and above category, just being a big guy like that. So maybe the hospital could have been like that, buddy, because they could have overestimated how much anesthesia to give him. And here's a lesson, which is a tough lesson. And there's probably some waivers and stuff that Scott had to sign that, he wouldn't sue or his family wouldn't sue if something went wrong. I've had to have some surgeries and go under the knife, and I was always kind of okay with it, and get, knocked out. But here's my thought. The healthier we can stay, or the healthier we can get, as we're all getting older, no one's getting younger, the less likely we go to the hospital, and the less likely we get put under anesthesia, and the less likely something bad happens to us. So that's just a kind of a reminder to myself, to you guys, especially to a guy like Conrad, to be quite fucking honest with you. I mean, he's hanging out with all these fitness guys, Kurt Angle and fucking DDP Yoga and all these fucks. Why aren't they taking Conrad to the beach for a nice walk, Adam? So the point is, we all have to just kind of be our own inspirational coach. I put some old Ultimate Warrior videos on this morning. I needed a boost of energy. We all have to do whatever it takes to keep a good mindset and then try to get in better shape. I've been doing some things lately that have been working for me. But sometimes there's a curve. You do the things that work, and the results don't show up right away. You have to wait for the results, and eventually they come. But in any event, I'm not arguing with your point there, Adam. I don't know. We weren't there. Because of Scott's size, they might have given him more anesthesia than a regular sized person, like a medium sized person, and that could have led to the clots. I mean, also you got to remember, and Scott was open about this. He did have a history of some, street drug abuse and stuff in his system. I'm not saying that was part of it. But Scott, I don't know if any of that stuff from his past. He's been clean for like 8 or 9 years, thanks to DDP yoga. Did any of that stuff have a contribution to this blood clot, or is it, or not? And I don't know. We don't know. Yeah, Conrad is so fucking huge, says Adam. He may be on my 600 pounds live TV show soon. Okay, so for those of you that may not know who we're discussing, and I'm not trying to put the guy down, because I actually sent Conrad a Christmas gift one year, and I even enclosed some weight loss tips because I had just lost some weight. And what I said to Conrad was, hey, buddy, what's been working for me is this kombucha, going to the movies, and walking, and oatmeal. You know what I mean? And but I mean, I know what it's like. I mean, I've been the same weight for quite some time. I've fluctuated. I've lost weight a few times, and then unfortunately it comes back. We all struggle, with this type of thing. But Conrad, our buddy there, he's really in a position where I think he's doing too many podcasts, to be quite honest. I think he's spending too much time sitting and talking to other people about the physical activities they've taken part in, namely wrestling. But none of these fucking guys, why isn't Kurt Angle and why isn't DDP telling him to fucking get exercising? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't they helping him? You know what I mean? Let's see. Hey, that's good, buddy. Adam's got his Helix shaker cup, which I did send him because Adam was nice enough to send me it was very, very motivating. Adam, I should give you credit, which I have before, but because Adam was nice enough to get me a box full of swag from StarCast last summer, it really kept me motivated to keep on with this channel and to get over the 1,000 subscriber mark, because I think you sent that to me when I was right around 1,000, but not quite there yet. So thanks again, Adam. And I sent Adam a nice Helix shake cup, which I just was looking at it a minute ago, but now I don't see it. So the point is, I blocked some person who was trying to put some porn shit on my fucking comments here. I think I also have the just so you know, Adam and everybody, I do have the Mikey tiers, 99 cents a month. You can see blood and guts from the Mikey cam with the full music, Suicide Girls Burlesque, some other rare Mike Messier footage you won't see anywhere else. Some of the matches from the House Always Wins AEW show you won't see anywhere else. $1 a month, Mikey tiers, just so you know. I think I also have the super chats going now, if anyone gives a shit. Let's see. Oh, this is a great question, buddy. Ooh, that's a tough one. Do you like Razor Ramon or the outsider Scott Hall better? Good question. It's a really good question. I think I would probably like the outsider Scott Hall better, just because that was, I mean, just overused, but that was a cool era for WCW. I mean, it made you feel proud to be a fucking WCW loyalist like myself, because now you got Scott Hall, you got Kevin Nash, you got the black t-shirts, the NWO. Some of the stuff he did as outsider Scott Hall, once they broke up, him and Nash, and they had that feud, and then they did the Scott Hall alcoholism angle, that kind of wore on me. I wasn't really a fan of the NWO splitting in half, like the NWO Black and White, which I think was mostly revolving around Hulk Hogan, and Scott Hall was on that side, which made no sense. And then you had the Wolf Pack, which was like Sting, I think was Macho Man in the Wolf Pack, Hogan, Luger, and then they all had their kiss and makeup ceremony because too many guys were injured. My point is, for those first couple of years, 96, 97, I think you got to go with the outsider, Scott Hall. I'm surprised. You could also say, what about Big Scott Hall, AWA version? You know what I mean? Like, he was bigger physically. He was an imposing dude in his AWA years. And it's just interesting that I'll be honest with you, when the Diamond Stud showed up, I didn't immediately recognize him as being Scott Hall. Very convincing, different look. Now, once the Diamond Stud became Razor Ramon, I totally got that. And then when Razor Ramon left and went over to WCW, and they said, "Oh, his name is Scott Hall," it was kind of like the end of The Usual Suspects for me. Like, boom, 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 boom. Holy shit, this is the same guy. I'm trying to remember if I knew that Razor Ramon and Diamond Stud were Scott Hall before Scott Hall went back to WCW 96. I can't really tell you, like, but it's possible that that whole time Razor Ramon was in the WWF, I just thought he was the same guy that was Diamond Stud, not realizing the same guy was Scott Hall. That's how convincing that initial transformation was, in my opinion. One of the best. I mean, talk about all these guys: Undertaker, Chris Jericho, blah blah blah. Guys using different names. Dewey Robertson is the missing link. Is a great one. Bill Eadie, the masked superstar, becoming what did he become? Demolition Axe. So there's a lot of cases of guys who transformed and kind of repackaged themselves. But I think you got to say that Scott Hall to Diamond Stud was one of the best kept secrets right in front of your face. You know, like it's he's not wearing a hood. You know, he hasn't had any plastic surgery. Just the dyeing of the hair, the slicking back of the hair, the he started doing the accent stuff. He was a lot more shredded too. I mean, I think Scott Hall was even in the Great American Bash 1989 in the 2-ring battle royal. I mean, they were using him as an underneath guy, which made no sense because he was in a lot better shape than a lot of these guys. But I think if you look at Great American Bash 89 pay-per-view, the 2-ring battle royal, I think Scott Hall is in it. And he's like the second or third guy eliminated. So that was 89. And then I believe it was it early 91 that the Diamond Stud came in, like Super Brawl 1 or Wrestle War 1 pay-per-view. So, and then like even when they introduced him, I think there was some swearing. Like I think DDP was swearing on camera or something. So I don't know if I've answered your question, buddy. I guess I did. I said the outsider Scott Hall is who I like better. But hey, look, a lot of people would say I couldn't argue with anyone that said Razor Ramon because you're talking about the Shawn Michaels, the 2 ladder matches. Actually, buddy, we did. There is a match you can. I'm pretty damn sure if you YouTube it. I think Diamond Stud and Oz actually tag teamed. I know that I saw something like Oz and Big Sky versus Davey Boy Smith and Sting, but I'm pretty damn sure I've seen either Vinny Vegas and Diamond Stud tag team or Oz and Diamond Stud. I'm pretty damn sure there's at least one. So I encourage you. Yeah, it's somewhere, buddy, because I can remember watching it. And it was either Diamond, like I said, either Diamond Stud and Vinny Vegas or Diamond Stud and Oz somewhere on YouTube. Yeah, that Big Sky guy. I don't know if you remember him from '93 WCW, but he became like an actor or something. Yeah, I would definitely look for that. And I'll try. And I was watching. You know what I did yesterday as a tribute? I listened first to the Stone Cold podcast with Scott Hall, and then I kind of segued. I think it was an RF video interview with Scott Hall, and then like some live thing that he did on stage recently. And he was also on the Monty and the Pharaoh show. The Monty and the Pharaoh show that have hosted quite a bit of people. They've got a really nice interview with Scott Hall, and he was in their studio and having fun. And so I watched all of that yesterday. So been really having and I tuned in to Vince Russo on one of his live streams, and of course he was talking about Scott a little bit, and then my computer kind of crashed on me, like the YouTube wasn't coming in, and I put it back on the things to do later list that I haven't done yet. Speaking of which, folks, I appreciate you guys checking in. it's a tough day for wrestling fans. I will do another fully dedicated Scott Hall thing. But as far as this movie goes, good movie. Tyson's run well worth seeing. Goodbye. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel.